Hello and welcome to another episode of The Flying Reporter. Today coming to you from Germany. I'm at Europe's biggest general aviation trade show, Aero Friedrichshafen.
Well, we're already getting off to a good start, aren't we? You'll hear me say this word wrongly several times during this episode. It's Aero Friedrichshafen, not Friedrichshafen, so I beg your forgiveness. With more than 650 exhibitors from 35 countries, enthusiasts, journalists and those in the GA business have been coming to Aero Friedrichshafen since I was a nipper. But this is my first visit.
Well, I suppose I've always been a bit of a late developer, but I am here now and I'm looking forward to going around. But the sheer size of this place is daunting, but I'm not going to get lost because I've got a friend here, John. Come on, John. John, fellow pilot John, is here to show me around, guide me around the halls. What, how many are there?
12
halls of exhibitions.
And they're big.
And your job also is to keep me away from the junk food and bad food.
Yeah.
And beer, there is beer here, so we need to avoid the beer as well. Not good. It's your first Friedrichshafen as well. What are you looking to get out of it? What are you expecting?
A good pilot should always expect the unexpected, and I wasn't expecting any of this. This is enormous.
Yeah.
It's all undercover in massive halls. It's got so many different things you could spend days and days and days wandering around. I'm interested in avionics, Garmin. I'm interested in the new electric developments that happen in the aircraft business, and also the second-hand aeroplanes. What's the price of those? What are they going to do? And there's all that to see, loads of details. Where we'll cover it in 2 days, I've no idea. But we'll give it a go.
We better make a start, haven't we?
Yeah.
Let's head off and let's go and find our first hall.
Okay, lead the way.
This episode has been sponsored by AOPA UK. Thanks to them for supporting the Flying Reporter YouTube channel. Now, I'm not visiting nor making this video with the intention of digging deep into the aviation news that's being announced here. I'm pretty new to this circuit and there are others more experienced at doing that. The reason why I'm here is because I want to see what it's like to visit as your average pilot.
And I suppose what you might want to know is why come here? What's the attraction of coming here? And we've been asking ourselves the same question. I kind of felt we've got to come here. You know, it's kind of like the European aviation mecca. It's a bit like Oshkosh for Europe, except without all the fun and the barbecues and the flight shows. But literally anybody who's in business in aviation is here from all over the world.
It is massive. You have to see it to believe the sheer scale of this event and the quantity and quality of the exhibitors.
This is the big stuff, isn't it? Boeing, Piper, Cirrus.
The biggest stands for the biggest brands sport shiny spotlights, plush carpets and even VIP areas.
Does it look good on me?
But even though it's out of the reach of most of us, it's nonetheless nice to look and perhaps even get close to this impressive hardware.
HondaJet have got their own bar. But there's a gate, can't get in there.
It's good too to see some familiar names and faces though.
Whose wedding is it?
Whose wedding? Stop it! Stop it! You know, come on, you've got to look so smart.
British pilot supply company Pooley's have their biggest exhibition stand ever here, and their staff are the event's best dressed. They're making a traditionally British impression, all suited and booted, because Aero Friedrichshafen is as big as it gets in Europe.
You know, if you want to meet people, you want to see people from all over the world, this is where they come. You know, there's Oshkosh and then there's Friedrichshafen, and I think those are the 2 biggest shows in the world. So, yeah, we need to be here.
Sustainable aviation is a big theme at this year's show. There are talks and presentations on the subject, a summit on hydrogen, and the latest ideas and developments on display. But the sector is still very much in its infancy with little hardware on show, despite all the R&D being done. However, the world's first certified electric aeroplane does have a presence here. Pipistrel is now owned by Textron. There are almost 100 of its all-electric Velis Electro aircraft operating in 14 countries around the world.
Are you disappointed by the number of sales so far with such a groundbreaking product? You know, I was kind of expecting it to be filling the skies of the UK, but it's not.
It's a great point. No, not disappointed by any means. We could always do more, right? And it was a groundbreaking product, and we're still the only one out there. And so it has been an interesting challenge for people to change their mind towards going electric in a flight school environment or an aero club environment.
It may be a pioneering product, but many see the aircraft's range, 50 minutes flight time, being the biggest barrier. And the extension of that is proving to be a slow process.
We're already into our second generation battery, which extended the life of the battery, not the endurance, but the life, tripled the life of the battery. This year we're focusing on a feature that will have energy recuperation out of the propeller during descent. So all of these features will continue to be retrofitted to the fleet. Pipistrel is continuing extensive research on battery technology, characterizing cells and picking the right cells for explicit applications. And yes, we will continue to work on extending the endurance of this product and maybe even another product in the future.
What really jumped out at me from this event was the sheer range of ultralight and light sport aircraft that are now available. Innovation and development in this sector is mind-blowing, and so it's impressive to see it dominating 3 whole halls here at Friedrichshafen. Innovation in flight simulation was also on display, along with the latest certified avionics, moving map software, engines and propellers. But there are companies here too that help us keep our older aircraft flying. Parts suppliers. British company Adams Aviation claims to be the largest parts supplier in Europe.
You're in parts, and I know as an aircraft owner that some parts have been very difficult to get hold of, haven't
Yes,
they? What's
they have.
going on?
So I think it's really challenges around in the supply chain with the manufacturing. So we talk to the suppliers a lot, and you know there's lots of problems with raw material parts. You know, getting just the components for the bits. Cores are a real issue. You know, returns of cores for parts, and I think they've also got challenges with labour. So we had a good meeting with one of our suppliers who was saying that in the US, you know, younger people are perhaps looking outside of the manufacturing industry for job roles now, and it's something they're having to encourage people into through schools, and the turnover of staff can be quite challenging at the moment, especially through COVID. I think there's lots of people in the industry who retired, you know, maybe during COVID, felt that it was time to move on, and we lost a lot of experience. And I think what we're trying to do now is regrow that industry back to get the people back into the industry itself.
John and I make good progress exploring what's here to see, and we realise there's an unexpected benefit of visiting Aero Friedrichshafen. I'm supposed to be exercising more on doctor's orders, and the distance we're having to walk to travel from stand to stand and hall to hall is helping me keep my step count high.
And I think you were checking on your app. You've walked about 5 miles?
Have I mentioned it? 6.5 miles.
6.5 miles that John and I have walked already.
And we haven't covered the second half. So we may have to put that one off till tomorrow, I think.
Now, so far I've been doing all the talking and the questioning. I think you should do some.
Me?
Yeah.
Right.
Why don't you find something here in this side, the A side of the exhibition, that you think is interesting to talk about, and go and ask some pertinent questions? Can you find something?
I've got just the thing in mind.
Have you?
I'll get on with it.
All right. Let's see how John does.
John's a great friend, but has never interviewed anyone in his life. He's not shy though, and before long, he's looking like a real roving reporter and is exploring a subject that many of us have an interest in: the cost of second-hand aeroplanes.
Okay, we're going to speak to Eric here from Plane for You, which is a company based in Poland, but deals in aeroplanes all over the world. Eric, thank you very much for talking to us. How many aeroplanes do you broker a year worldwide?
Well, we're looking at dozens of aircraft bought and sold all over the world. Our primary market is in Poland, but we also have offices in Portugal and US. US is, as we all know, the biggest market, but we both buy and deliver aircraft to US.
So you're one of the biggest players in the market, I would suggest, the amount of operations,
we
the
would
amount
hope
of sales you do. Where do you see the market now, and where do you see it going?
So during the pandemic, that hit the market tremendously.
Yeah.
However, we see that in a couple of years, the market rebuilt very quickly. So whoever bought an aircraft 2 years ago, they actually made money. The value of all aircraft went up 15 to 20%.
Right, since the pandemic,
Since the pandemic, so that was very quick. There is now a huge demand building. People are looking for aircraft. General Aviation is growing worldwide. So we see a continuous growth possibility there. The only thing that we see that could stop the market a little bit, hinder it, is politicians.
Well, I think John did tremendously well there in his interview with Eric from Planes for You. It looks like there might be competition for the role of the flying reporter. Now, headset wars. There is a current battle going on at the moment between the two leading active noise-cancelling headset companies, Bose and Lightspeed. And if you're unsure of which one is best for you, there's a booth here at the show where you can try out those and many other of the leading brands. So Lightspeed launched their Delta Zulu headset just recently with its inbuilt carbon monoxide detector. A couple of months later, Bose released the A30 headset with its adjustable levels of noise reduction and a new, more comfortable design. Full disclosure, Lightspeed was kind enough to gift me one of their Delta Zulu headsets. I've just started using it, and I have to say the noise reduction is the best I've ever tried. I'm not just saying that. And so it was my pleasure to meet up with Teresa Demers from Lightspeed to talk about another benefit of the Delta Zulu.
One of the other great new features of the headset is the hearing acuity function, which each new user goes through on their connected device to customize the sounds that they're hearing.
Right.
Tell me about that.
Right, so we call that hearing acuity, and as we're talking about the features of Delta Zulu, we call them, sometimes we say it's life-saving and life-changing technology, because obviously the carbon monoxide can be life-saving, but the hearing acuity for some people has already demonstrated that it's really kind of life-changing. And so you take a very simple audiologist level test. It takes about 5 minutes on your phone or your iPad, 12 frequencies in each ear, your left and your right ear, and then that gets uploaded into the headset. And then from that point on, everything from an audio standpoint that the headset delivers is really tailored to your hearing profile. So if you have a little bit of hearing loss in some frequencies, or maybe one ear more than the other, it's going to compensate for that, the headset will. And so for some people, they have discovered they had hearing loss that they didn't know they had, or they really feel like now they can hear ATC, especially, in a way that they were starting to not be able to hear so well. So we've heard, again, from a number of customers for whom this is either maybe lengthen the length of time that they're going to be able to fly, or maybe they were kind of hearing deficient and they were having a hard time just, hearing ATC, that it's really changed it for them. So we're also really gratified and humbled by that as well, because again, we want to make the flying experience safer and more enjoyable for people. That's what we're all about. And so with Delta Zulu, we've had a couple of ways to be able to do that.
Wonderful to see Teresa and other women here in aviation business, but it's clear from just looking around the show at the exhibitors and visitors that aviation still has a diversity problem. It's still dominated by, well, white men of a certain age like me. One of the subjects under discussion in the conference programme at Aero Friedrichshafen this year is how to engage Generation Z, our future general aviation community. And one of the keys to addressing that is diversity, being more inclusive and finding ways to attract more women, more people from black and ethnic minority backgrounds, and people like me, I suppose, from the LGBTQ plus community.
Well, I'm with Daniel Rudel now, who's the Vice President of European Pride in Aviation. No, Europe.
Yeah, that was.
I was getting European Pride in Aviation. It's written there. I shouldn't be difficult.
Right there, right.
European Pride in Aviation Network, and I wanted to talk to you about diversity in aviation.
Yeah.
Of course, we've got a massive gender problem.
Yes.
But we also don't have great visibility in terms of LGBTQ people. And it's sometimes not a welcoming place, or it's certainly when I started learning to fly, not a welcoming place for gay people,
True.
LGBT people. It has got better, hasn't it?
It has, especially with younger people. I mean, we often talk about Generation Z and Y, but especially about Z. And I feel like that especially Generation Z is getting more comfortable with identifying as who they really are. But I mean, you know it from your own experience. When you come into the industry, when you're brand new, you have different views of everything. And then there are people who have been there for decades sometimes. Of course, for them, it's difficult, especially in an industry like the aviation industry. Things adapt really slowly, so there's really two big, two mindsets really now head on in the aviation industry, and we want to make a change. And
so how do you support change as an organisation?
Yeah, well, first of all, we create visibility. That's why we are here today at Friedrichshafen at the Aero. To let everyone know that there are queer people in the aviation industry as well. Still, it's a rare sight, for example, to see a gay pilot on the flight deck, or even a transsexual person, or a non-binary, whatever. So that's still really rare, and we want to create visibility. We go to airlines, we go to MROs, we go to pilot schools and so on and so forth, and explain to them not only that people are there and want to join the industry, but how they can benefit actually from more diversity.
It's an environment where I think, or certainly I felt, that I couldn't be open about my sexuality.
Yeah,
and
true.
I felt that to do so would lead to derision and
we have many examples of that.
Yeah. And that to be honest, a lot of that could well be my own take on it. That might not necessarily be the case, and I just wonder if perhaps schools and organisations can do, maybe just subtle things that they can do.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying like put a rainbow flag up outside or something.
Well, why not?
What could a flying school watching this do to make themselves more inclusive?
Yeah. Well, the first thing would be to attract queer people and diverse people, and that would, for example, include queer people in their advertising. Most of the times when you see ads for pilot schools here, it's always young white men, of course. So why not include women, or if you show, if you have an advertising like a video or something, maybe not show only men, but more diverse men, like, I don't know, men with nail polish, or you know what I mean, just put a little bit of color into it. And also include it in the training. CRM would be a really, really great topic where to start. I mean, it is a CRM, it is a flight safety issue, really. If you don't feel comfortable with yourself or your colleague in the cockpit, of course.
Just some careless language, for example, could cause problems.
I've been talking to AOPA recently about this exact topic. AOPA has sponsored this episode, and I know they're concerned about diversity in general aviation. It's a subject that none of us should be ignoring.
What are the risks of not doing anything about this?
Well, the risks in terms of the future means, as far as I'm concerned, that we will continue to contract. There will be fewer people participating, and therefore it is important that we reach out to people that come from different ethnic backgrounds, different sexual orientations. We need more women involved in flying. The numbers are improving, but it's still only about 6% of the female population. And if the industry gets it right, they will see there's an untapped market there for growth, and that's what's important.
I'm hoping to offer my support to AOPA to help promote these issues. I'm a member of AOPA UK, and right now it is offering a 25% discount for Flying Reporter followers on new 1- and 2-year memberships. So please consider signing up to help them do more to not only improve diversity in aviation, but to tackle some of the other big issues that are affecting our sector. You can get your discount by clicking on the link on your screen, using the QR code, or clicking the link in the video description. Hopefully this has been a refreshing and enlightening report from Aero Friedrichshafen, perhaps even covering topics some of the other channels and outlets are afraid to explore.
So that concludes our little roundup of what we've seen here at Aero Friedrichshafen in Germany. Would you come again, John?
Yes, I would. But I've known what I was in for this time. Lots of walking, lots to see. You'd need at least 2 days, don't you? At least 2 days.
It's been a really interesting visit. I hope you've enjoyed joining us as we float around the show here, and we'll hopefully come back in 2024. If you've enjoyed the video, then make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Fly safely, my friends. Bye-bye.
Bye.